Hello, I'm John Joe. Welcome to Lime War. Today we have PlantBlock, who is over here on a very strange map, against Zloygiz, who started over here, strangely, and has pretty much started in the corner, which normally is a pretty bad thing. I probably would have either started on this island here and spread across quickly, or right in this central bit here, because there's quite a lot of land to grab. And he's built an airfield as well, so being in the corner with an airfield does reduce its ability to move, because you only get a certain section where it's viable, whereas behind you in this area is very unlikely to find the enemy. But we'll see how this battle goes on. He's building commandos, or producing commandos straight away. He is going to claim these territories pretty fast behind him, and he's going to be able to push forward and use his full force in front of him towards the enemy, who doesn't know he's there yet, so that might be his advantage in this. The enemy's also gone for airfield here. PlantBlock is building, I think, helicopters, and he's got a lot of infantry with one factory being produced here, two factories maybe. And so far it looks like PlantBlock has the advantage when it comes to eco, certainly in the future of this game. But with the engagement being so early, I don't think there's going to be much of a future in this game. This match is only about 15 minutes long. So it really depends who gets in this early. So we've got a town being built here, or has been built here. So Zloygiz does have an economy boost, but that is quite a bit of capital invested in that early on. PlantBlock is struggling with economy. He does have a small amount of eco in the positives, though, which will probably reduce when these structures get built. Whereas Zloygiz does have a good eco in his favour, but doesn't have as much production just yet. He is building a SAM unit straight away, which will be great when he realises the enemy is going for air units. He's also building a transport jet, so he's going to try and sneak around the back of the enemy, or try and find other locations to grab. Now that we've gone full force towards the opponent, we do see some helicopters moving in. He's using a line to drop them off here, and then use another line to move them once again. And the frontline force from PlantBlock is probably going to go down, so he's pulling these guys back before risking them. He's going to try and send these guys around Zloygiz, I think. But I think Zloygiz isn't going to let that happen. He's bringing his units straight through this way and he's going to take them out. But they're on a blue command that isn't taking territory, so if he realises, he might actually be able to push these through this way quickly before Zloygiz can take it out. But it looks like he's forgotten about him, and that one unit is going to go down. The helicopters are being brought in now, but Zloygiz also has his helicopter over here taking out some expanding units from PlantBlock. I assume Zloygiz is bringing in his SAM now. I would say it would be worth building them up, but at this point I think we don't have that many air units in, and it might be worth just bringing them all in as fast as you can. As long as they stay behind your frontline units. It looks like Zloygiz, PlantBlock, sorry, is also building a transport jet and has commandos on production, so he's planning to expand that way as well. He's got the transport command going here. I'm not sure that's going to work yet though, because he doesn't have the air unit here, but he does here, but only the infantry. We'll have to see if that works, because I'm not sure on the command setup for that. PlantBlock has built up a large force of infantry to try and plough through Zloygiz frontline force here, which Zloygiz can see setting up a defensive line, but that is way too close to that enemy, and they're not going to build it in time, and being quite a bit spread out here. Which means they're going to have a reduced health from building this defensive line. And they're not going to be able to fire back while they're building it, as these units are so close they're getting through there. PlantBlock's command is just an orange command, so he's just going to attack anything he comes across. But Zloygiz does have some units coming in through the side that may help end this battle quicker. Now that they've set up the fortifications, it might take a little longer to kill them. The helicopter coming in with PlantBlock only having a SAM unit up here. He hasn't got it onto the battlefield yet, so he's not going to be able to try and deal with that helicopter. PlantBlock has decided to retreat. Did manage to stop the fortifications mostly, But he sees the artillery, and I think he's not willing to engage with the artillery shooting him back. Nonetheless, PlantBlock could also come around the side and take on the defences from the side. And Zloygiz is sending off his transports. Not sure where they're going to go to. I assume the central island as well. Yep. So both players are going to fight over this middle island here. Try and take control. Zloygiz does have energy as well. I want to see if PlantBlock does. He doesn't yet. These air units are going to run out of energy soon. And at that point won't be viable. He has an energy well available to him here, but that's in quite a contested zone. And simply because of that, I think Zloygiz is going to win this. Because he'll be able to maintain his air units for a lot longer. So, PlantBlock's now got his commandos going in. Yeah, I was right. He had to change this command to send them in. And both commandos dropped at the same time. However, Zloygiz does have two of them dropping in. Two groups. So Zloygiz might be able to take control of that island, but remember the commandos are south, so it's not just about that. He could run with his commandos this way and try and get out of there, take over a different territory before coming back. As I said, PlantBlock could bring his units around to the side and take on the defences from the side. That seems to be exactly what he's trying to do here. This one should probably be a blue command, so they move in that way, and when they get to this area, that's when they'd move in, and that would be where they take them from behind. Probably not the best way to word that, but you get where I'm going with that. So Zloygiz does have a single unit. Oh no, there's two units taking over the territory this way, which is something he definitely needs to focus on. His economy is not going to be increasing much from this point on unless he can get some more expanding units. He does have these guys up here, which is what he's relying on more than these, but without increasing his economy, PlantBlock might end up winning this, because you don't really need the energy. He's got the energy here, but you don't really need it. It's not as necessary, especially when you're using the artillery and infantry as your main force. And PlantBlock hasn't quite used up all of his energy yet, so it won't even affect him unless he isn't able to hold on to this energy well, which I'm assuming Zloygiz can see. And he's going to target with commandos, and I'd probably send a helicopter that way too. Oh, actually I wouldn't, because there's SAM units there. But he is going to try and take it out with some commandos. The helis are coming in overhead. The SAM units are on this side, so these helis are definitely better on this side of the battlefield. They're going to be able to help take out these artillery. And I think with the artillery, they are equally matched. Maybe Zloygiz is ahead, but the helicopter is what is allowing that to happen. Transport jet does go down, but the commandos did get dropped off before that. So I think he's going to be able to take out this energy well, but will lose those commandos to the SAM in the end. Or at least he'll lose one of them, but he's sending more in, so they're just going to keep on attacking, and the SAM units will probably take out this transport jet as well, which is going to hinder Zloygiz expanse in this game. There we go, it's on fire and it goes down as well. So now he's lost his energy. Zloygiz is pushing around front over here. He has managed to stop that engagement from being too severe. On this side of things, the commando took out a barracks over there from Zloygiz, but yet hasn't managed to build or conquer any of the territories there yet. PlantBlock is now forced to regroup and readdress the situation. He does have SAM units on production, but he left them on the front line here and they got taken out. Maybe not on the front line, I think it was over here with the commandos, so I think the commandos might have taken them out. From Zloygiz's point of view, yeah, he still has his commandos alive over here. He's got 4 there now, so that's why he was able to do that. And these commandos are going to try and expand up this direction here. So let's have a look at the eco as the engagements have slowed down. We've got 461 from Zloygiz, and from PlantBlock 467. So they're pretty much equal, even at this point. However, if PlantBlock wants to run his air units, he's definitely going to need a power plant, which he's producing up here, way out of the firing line of these enemies. The SAM units coming in now as the helicopter's taken out the artillery. It didn't change its target to the SAM units, so he is just going to try and take out that, but The SAM unit might be able to take him out if it can fire again. Probably not. It's not on fire yet. No, it's fine. Does manage to survive. We do have some commandos trying to come back through in this direction. They seem to be on their very own mission right now, so we'll have to see what PlantBlock has in mind for those guys. Over here, he did manage to save one of his commandos, and he's taken over the territory of that central island, where Zloygiz is trying to take control. He has spotted it, and he does have some territories already. He's just trying to make sure PlantBlock doesn't have control over here at all. He's building another transport jet to try and help with his commandos expansing. And at this point, he's just trying to build up his numbers on the front line here. But there is quite a lot of infantry here from PlantBlock, and they might be able to take out this group of artillery here if Zloygiz isn't paying attention. But Zloygiz can see these commandos moving in as well, so I think he's going to try and prioritize a bit of damage on those. And the helicopters are going to come in through the side here, trying to avoid the SAM that's over here, so he's placed it on this side so they attack in this sort of direction. And these commandos are going to catch up to the enemy commandos, Zloygiz commandos, from PlantBlock's perspective. And they're going to try and take him out. There isn't that many that he can see. And that helicopter is far too... These helicopters are way in the middle of all these units, and they're going to get taken out by the interceptors and the SAM units. The fact that he's using interceptors might make it easier with the power plant, because they're not really needed as often. They usually just rush in, damage, and then rush out. So running them with a power plant probably isn't too much of a bad idea. It does stop the enemy's air units from being as successful as they would have been without. On the front line now, it looks like Zloygiz is surrounding the enemy. He's got this little curve going on, and as his numbers build up, that'll be much more effective in the future. He does have way more artillery than the enemy, and I think that is something that will slowly start to change this battle and allow Zloygiz to just push forward slowly. We have a transport jet being very cheeky here, trying to drop in some commandos, but the interceptors are going to try and take out that. They probably will take out the transport jet, but the commandos are on the ground. From Zloygiz's point of view, what is his plan here? He's going to try and take out the airfield. He's trying to get these guys to move on a move command, but he's given up. He knows there's quite a few units in the forest, so he's trying to speed up out into the back end. And now these frontline artillery are just going to try and do as much damage as they can. He does seem to really want to get these units up there, but it might be wise to just put them on a command that straightens them out a bit more into a nice formation, so that they have a bit more firing power. Which seems to be what PlantBlock's kind of doing by bringing them around here. He's got a line. If he was to bring them in this way now, they'd probably be more effective that way. But the helicopters are swinging around to the side to try and take out the artillery at the front line here. But now PlantBlock doesn't have control over this island at all, so Zloygiz is over there and is able to take over some territory. But he has kind of forgotten about it. He's got his units on the front here, can bring them back, which he's doing just as I spot it as well. Great minds think alike, I'm sure. And the SAM units are going to take out the helicopters supporting this fight. Those helicopters probably aren't going to take out those SAM units. I think the SAM are going to do a good lot of damage to them. That helicopter's running away on fire, so is the other one. One goes down. And they're going to chase him, and unfortunately it was going to land here, which it probably would have been better to land here, but you can't really control that. His artillery are going down slowly, but they are being reinforced much more than they are being taken out. So Zloygiz is definitely on a path of victory right now if PlantBlock doesn't swing this back round somehow. He's trying to build extra structures, but he just doesn't have the eco for it. He hasn't claimed enough territories yet. He's trying to do some industries, and he's struggling to keep control over what he has already. So I think Zloygiz has won this match, as he brings more and more units to the front line here. He does still have these units expanding. I think he maybe should have put a barracks over here to support this expanse of infantry. But other than that, I think they both played this really well. They both tried to control that center island, which would have been really good for either person. And the artillery on the front line are becoming a bit unstoppable at this point in the game with the little production on the map. And we have reached the end of the match, so I think Zloygiz won that. Let me know what you think of this fight, and feel free to suggest any videos. I have a Discord, you can share your replays there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.